Hello, today we're going to be showing you how to paint a rose using acrylics. Painting from life may feel a little daunting if you haven't tried it before, but we're going to break the process down into easy steps for you. You can also work from a photo if you find that easier. For this project, you will need some thick paper such as mixed media paper, some masking tape, drawing pencils, an eraser, acrylic paints and brushes. If you want to paint a traditional looking pink rose, we would recommend buying a tube of permanent rose paint for the petals and sap green for the stem and leaves. We're also going to be using the Techni Artist and Drafting lamp from the Daylight Company. This is an artist's lamp with lots of great features. There are 2 different clamps, so you can attach it to your desk or easel. The Techni lamp is also flexible, so you can easily position the light where you need it. It has 3 brightness settings, so you can effortlessly adjust the lamp to suit your needs. The real advantage of the Techni lamp is that it is a daylight lamp, meaning that it recreates the quality of natural light. This is really useful if you started your painting outside and you want to continue painting indoors. It will help you to paint the colours more accurately. Before we begin painting, we need to set up our workspace. You can adjust the brightness of the Techni lamp by simply pressing the button on the side of the lamp. You can change the light level to suit your needs with ease. This helps you to see your work more clearly and is particularly useful if you have to paint or draw in a dimly lit room. We're going to use a bright setting for this project so that it mimics natural sunlight. Another great feature of the Techni lamp is its flexible shade and neck, which means that you can position the light exactly where you need it. This rose painting project is intricate, so we'll need to look very closely at what we're painting. We're going to bend the neck of the lamp so that it's as close to the page as possible. If you like, you can tilt the lamp at an angle so that no shadows fall across the page. You don't need to worry about the glare from the bulb if you position it close to your face. It has a shade on the side of the lamp to protect your eyes. Now we're all set up and ready to start painting. As you can see, the Techni lamp has been securely attached to the table using a clamp, so it's not going to move around. The Techni lamp also comes with a second clamp to attach to an easel if you're using one. Step 1. Start by taping your paper down using some masking tape. It's a good idea to press it against your clothing before applying it to the paper to reduce the tackiness. This will stop the paper from ripping when you remove the tape. The tape will also give you a nice clean border and stop the paper from moving around while you paint. Step 2. If you're new to painting, you may find it useful to sketch the outline of your rose lightly onto the paper before you start painting. This will help you to get the dimensions right. If you're struggling to draw the intricate petals, draw the rose in a more upright position so you're not seeing as much of the centre of the flower. Step 3. Next, we're going to mix the colours. To make sure you get the colours right, it's a good idea to start by mixing 3 tones for your petals. Start by mixing your middle tone, then mix a lighter tone and a darker one. You can lighten your paint by simply adding some white, but there are a couple of different ways you can darken your paint. The easiest way is to add black to your paint and keep adding black until you've achieved the colour you want. You could also try using a dark brown or blue instead of black for a softer look. An alternative way is to add the colour that is on the opposite side of a colour wheel, which is called the complementary colour. For example, if you want to darken red or pink, then you would mix in some green paint. It's worth looking at a colour wheel to check this if you're unsure. Step 4. Now take a brush and begin to add your dark tone. It's a good idea to work quickly as acrylic paints are fast drying. Look closely at your rose to see where the shadows are while you're doing this. Step 5. Move on to the lighter middle tones. blend it into the shadows at the base of each petal, and draw the darker paint into the mid-tones using your brush. If the dark areas are still wet, you should be able to create a smooth gradient. Wetting the brush can also help if the paint has already started to dry. Apply more fresh paint if your first layer is too dry. Step 6. Take your lighter paint and begin to add highlights at the top of the petals, blending it into your middle tone. If the middle tone has dried out a little, you can always add some more paint from your palette to help you blend the colours more evenly. We would recommend switching to a finer brush when you're working on the edge of the petals to help you get a cleaner edge. To prevent smudging, try painting the individual petals separately to get a smooth gradient. Step 7. If you look closely at your rose, you'll notice that there are some areas between the petals that are even darker. Take your darkest petal shade and mix it with a different colour such as black to make it even darker. Use a fine brush to add these little shadows to your painting. Step 8. Now for the highlights. Take your lightest petal shade and make it lighter with a little white paint. Use a fine brush to add highlights along the very edge of the petals. If you want it to look as though your rose is catching the sun's rays, you could also mix a little yellow into the paint to add warmth to your painting. This is a good time to go over your rose and tidy up any areas that look messy or inaccurate. Step 9. If you like, you can paint more roses surrounding your original rose, or you can add leaves and a stem. For the stem, you'll need to mix 3 tones of green. As before, you'll start by mixing the mid-tones, then move on to the shadows and the highlights. When applying the paints, work from dark to light. Use a fine brush to keep the stem looking even. You can add a few thorns along the stem if you wish. You can also add leaves if you like. Sketch the outline using lighter tones, then fill it in using the same colours you mixed for your stem. Use a fine brush to add little points along the edge of the leaf, along with any additional highlights or shadows. If you wanted to add a pop of colour to your finished painting, you could always add a coloured background. If the edges of your painting are a little messy, this also gives you the chance to tidy them up. Use a fine brush to go around the edges of your rose, then take a flatter brush and use it to fill in the rest of your background. Use alternating vertical and horizontal brush strokes to make the background smooth and even. You're done! We hope you enjoyed this rose painting tutorial. You can find the full tutorial over on gathered.how. Time to pack everything away. It's easy to dismantle the lamp and store it until we need it again. We're looking forward to using it for our next project.